Hey guys, it's Matt and Scott from Stout Sportsmen,
How's
and
it going, everybody?
today we are going to talk about Texas rigs.
Yes.
We're just going to go from rod to bait, everything in between. Talk
Right.
about what we like to use, and give you guys a little, tips, some advice. By no means are we pros, but I don't know. I think we've learned a little bit along the way.
Right.
So Matt, what kind of a rod do you use for your Texas rigs?
First of all, Scott throws a lot more than I do. Texas rig. I will throw it every once in a while, but pretty much what I'm going to use, kind of similar to what I'm going to talk about in our drop shot video. But I like to use usually 6.5 to 7 foot rod. Normally, I'm a shorter guy, so normally I'm going to use a shorter rod than Scott would. But normally, I got a 7 foot Daiwa. It's a one piece. It's a medium heavy. I most of the time like to use a medium, but a medium heavy will work, especially being a one piece. It's got a nice feel to it with a fast tip. That's what I prefer. I have thrown them on bait casters too. You know, if I do throw it on a bait caster, it's also going to be a medium power. You know, close to that 7 foot range.
Yeah. So my Texas rig rod is a 7 foot medium heavy. I use the actually Lew's Mach 2 combo
Yep.
For a lot of the time, and then it's really depending on what I'm doing with the Texas rig.
Sure.
If I'm fishing out fishing grass offshore a little bit, and I'm throwing Texas rig, I'll use the Lew's the Mach 2 combo 7 foot medium heavy. If I am working around structure along the bank, I tend to go towards more of I think I have a 7. I think it's 7.3 or 7.6.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit more of a heavy rod,
Okay.
with a real fast tip.
Cool.
And the biggest reason with that is being so close to the boat. I want that heavy rod to be able to basically stick the fish and pull them out before they get under docks,
Right.
and around the cover.
So in that scenario, you're probably going to have that braided, spooled up with braid, and then a leader to it. Okay.
Yeah, most of the time I use braid on most all of my Texas rigs, other than if I'm fishing more pulling through grass, being out a little deeper. I may use like a fluoro leader.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of times in that close cover, I'm just going to throw braid.
Right.
And that's usually you don't really need too heavy. I guess it all depends on where you're fishing. Up here in the north, you can get away with like 12 to 15 pound braid.
Yeah.
You don't need to go too heavy.
Right. I agree. My 7 foot rod I was just referring to right now I think is spooled up. It's all fluoro on it. I believe it's 10-pound Berkeley Vanish. But that's normally if I'm going to drop shot or I'm on a Texas rig or something with just all fluoro. It's kind of like you had said. It's going to be a little bit deeper or medium depth water where you're not around as much structure that you're going to need to rip that fish out. So
good. What kind of knot do you use?
It depends. I mean, there's a couple knots that I'll use. I mean, most of the time I use a polymer. Sometimes I'll use just that old school trilene fishing knot. But there's a couple other knots that I'll use occasionally.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Polymer or the trilene knot.
Yep.
Keep it simple.
Right.
If you're gonna learn one knot for fishing, it's just go ahead and learn the polymer knot.
Right. It's easy to learn. I mean, it's easy to teach the girls. When you take the girlfriends or wives out fishing, it's just something that's pretty easy. Trying to do a trilene knot for some people is, especially if it's windy or it's cold, your fingers are wet, it can be a pain.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Let's see. Here's one for you. Do you use weight?
Yes.
Texas rigs?
Oh, most of the time, yeah, I'm going to say yes. But it also depends on what you're throwing on your Texas rig.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, are you throwing something like that, or are you throwing a creature? It really depends on the weight of what you're throwing. If it's a lighter bait, yeah, you're going to want to put some weight on there. If not, then you might be able to get away with just just the bait weight itself.
Yeah, and I also want to put in there. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I also want to put in there that the weight is also for
to keep it from getting out of the weeds.
Yeah, or the depth.
Right. True.
So if you're fishing if you're fishing deeper water, you may not want, or you may want the weight.
Right.
Where if you're fishing like a foot of foot and 2 foot water, there really might not even be a need for the weight.
Right.
But I would also say that if you're pitching it out there and you're not getting any hits on weightless, try a weight. See if they want a little faster bait going through the water.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And also you gotta think about too if there's any bit of current too. If there's any bit of current, that's kind of a lot of the time going to hold that bait up from getting down to where you want it.
Yep. Yeah, up here in the north, sometimes like out on Lake Erie and Niagara River, you have to use that weight. You have to use
definitely. I think I got 3 examples right here. 2 of them are tungsten. These ones are pretty tiny, but
yeah,
two different colors of tungsten weights, and then you have kind of like your steel or your alloy, so just little bullet weights. And those will help a little bit, if you are fishing some grass or something like that. That'll help kind of keep that area from getting clogged up with grass and whatnot too.
I will say this is one of the weights that I use. And if you actually look, there's a little dent or thing that sticks out.
Yeah, it's like a nipple.
Yeah, this is actually something that I learned a couple years ago, and what that is actually shrink wrap, little heat shrink wrap that you get for electrical.
Yeah,
and you heat it up, and I'll link a video to it down below if I can find it still. You heat it up and you kind of put it through and you get it to expand back out, and it keeps the metal or the sinker from hitting your line.
Okay.
So it kind of gives you a little buffer there.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what pro does this. There's a few pros that do this,
just so it doesn't eat up into the line over time.
Yeah, and if you
not retying.
Yeah, if you get a little nick on your weight, that'll definitely it'll save your line.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're in and around some rocks, stuff like that. Yep. Good idea.
Hooks.
The only hooks that I grabbed for this one, pretty much just what we opened in our February 6th cents sack. These are the 4/0 Stout wide gap.
See if we get some royalties off of that.
For a Texas rig, this is pretty much normally what I'm going to use. Maybe a little smaller, somewhere between a 2 and a 4/0. But yeah, that's normally what I like to do.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the main sizes that most people use.
Yeah.
If you're looking just to get one all around, I'd say probably a 4/0.
Right.
And there is a few differences as far as, I think this is actually one of the Stout hooks.
Yep.
And then this is more of a straight shank worm hook.
Right.
I'd use this more for throwing worms. And then I would throw this one more for throwing like structure, like craws and bugs and stuff like that.
Right.
And then I also have one a little smaller. I think this is either a 2 or a 3, but it has let me see if I can get that there. A little bait keeper on it.
Right. You got that little barb. Yep.
Yeah. So tie on. You have that little barb. Feed your bait up, and just past that barb, and it'll hook it on there. Keep it nice and keep it from sliding back down.
Right.
I think that's one of my big pet peeves with the Texas rig. There are times where the baits just tend to slide down.
Right. Yep.
All right, let's.
Plastic. I'm just kind of I'm a little out of season, but just trying to hook one up right now. So basically, that's what I got going right now. It's not perfectly in line. It just kind of threw that on there quick, and then right where you got the point of the hook there, you kind of see it right there. A lot of time what I'll do with the tip, I'll just kind of push it right back in just a little bit, just so that tip is just under the skin on that plastic. It'll be a slightly less, more, or actually slightly better at keeping the weeds from getting caught up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely comes through the grass a lot better when you have that hook just like that.
Yep.
One of our, I think our more well-known fishing videos when we were out on Cayuga, the two of us, back 2017, I believe it was.
Okay.
One of our first ones there. We got to the point, and neither of us were big Texas rig fishermen back then.
Right.
And I actually switched up, but I think you were throwing like a drop shot, and I actually switched up and was throwing a Texas rig in the same areas where we were throwing lipless and drop shot baits. And the Texas rig, as long as you kept that point of that hook in the bait, it came through the weeds just fine.
Yeah. Yep. And that's something that, depending on what kind of grass or weeds it is, you kind of just got to experiment a little bit and see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
But then you also you don't want to bury that tip too deep into the bait, because if that fish doesn't hit it quite right and you go to set the hook, it might not penetrate. So.
Well, we're talking about setting the hook. With these larger hooks.
Yeah.
Give it a good ride. Don't be afraid to.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of backbone on these hooks for sure. So you're not going to bend them.
And using those medium heavy or heavy rods.
You got a stiff backbone to it. Yeah, you can give it some go. Especially if you got braided line or whatever, and if you got like a 10-pound leader line or something, yeah, you can lay into it pretty good.
Yep, and that's the big thing, is you want to get that. Let's see if we can. You can't really see. Oh, I guess you can see that barb.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you want to drive that barb up into their mouth.
Yep. Hopefully into their mouth, not the gullet.
Yeah,
that's always the worst when they swallow it, but that's usually operator error.
Yeah, you don't want to let them go too long on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's show off some plastic baits that we like to use, and
the one that I showed you guys already kind of rigged up here, and then just a couple other creatures here, just various different brands, and then pretty much, worm wise, it doesn't really matter. I mean, just whatever length you like. Right here, I think this might be a 6 cents. I'm not even sure. This is just something loose that I had laying around.
Yep.
But like something like this, I'm gonna use this for a Texas rig. I'm gonna put this on a drop shot, a bunch of different stuff. So there's a lot of, you can pretty much throw anything on there, especially when you can surprise a fish with a little different presentation. It's worth a shot.
I do like a lot of the Strike Kings.
Yes.
The Rage Tails. This is the Rage Craw.
Yep.
Got little flanges on the what are these? The craw. I forget what they're actually called. They're claws. Whatever they're called. So, then they also have, this is the Rage Bug, Structure Bug. A little different.
Yeah. And there's all different variations of craws and bugs and every kind of imaginable creature. So
then you have
find something that works in for where you fish.
This is a good old Gary Yamamoto.
Yep.
And then last I have a Clout from 6 cents.
Yep.
And you can just see the difference between the Yamamoto and the Clout. This has like a little
it's ribbed.
Yeah, a little diamond ribbed.
Yep.
Whoop. See there. So that just creates a little more
just Just moves the water differently. Yeah.
Water movement.
Yep.
So, I mean, those are the baits that we like to use. Everything, we'll put some stuff down in the description if you want to, some links to some of the baits we use, and check them out.
Yeah. Yep. You really can't go wrong. I mean, bait wise. I mean, once you find something that works, just keep using it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Yamamoto Seikos. Maybe not for a Texas rig, but I've stocked up on them when I can.
I mean, the biggest thing with colors, pick like a black and blue, something dark.
Right, black and blue.
Fish the darker waters.
Green pumpkins with
Yep.
Any type of green pumpkin, even the watermelons. Yep.
Yeah, just keep it simple. Don't go too crazy with your colors.
Right.
Get I would say 3 to 4 colors. A few contrasting different ones.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to go crazy. Get the ones that work for you.
Yep. Simple. Yeah, keep it simple.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you wanna cover or no? I think that's pretty much it for Texas rig, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try Texas rig, my advice is just go out and throw it. Don't and give it time. Don't just give it a few casts and then go back to your crankbait.
Right.
Give it some time and just learn how it feels.
Right. I mean, just like throwing any bait, whether it's a crankbait or a lipless or whatever it is. I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve, and especially coming out of winter time, if you haven't thrown stuff, you might not have that same touch and feel that you had last season. So it takes a while to get used to it and what you need to do with that rod tip to give it the right presentation to get those fish strikes. And the better you get at it, the more fish you're going to catch, obviously.
Yep. All right. I think that's going to do us.
Yeah.
Do it for us.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys learned something, or we refreshed your memory.
Yep. Subscribe if you haven't already. There'll definitely be some more videos like this. I think we're gonna try and get these out 1 or 2 or at least 1 every week.
Yeah.
Come join our live streams. We're trying to do those weekly also, and
yes.
We have our fantasy fishing going pretty well.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time this year.
So for Matt and Scott, are we out?
Yeah, we're out for now. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
All right, later.
Bye-bye.